Welcome to an episode of Chat Sports Talk, and welcome to Week 5 of the 2024 NFL season. That's right, a whole month of NFL is already under our belts, and we've seen some interesting takes. We've seen teams that we thought would be good, not so much. Other teams that were supposed to be bad are really good, and we'll kind of dive into that and look at the previous week's matchup, how I did. I'm not going to spend too long with the recap. That tends to eat up a huge chunk of my videos for these weeks. So as I spit over my microphone here. So I'm going to try to eliminate that, and then we'll dive into Week 5, which is going to be a small week because the buys are starting. And we have another interesting overseas game once again. So let's dive back into last week. Last week, I actually went 9-7. So I actually improved from the previous 2 weeks, 7-9. Not back to my Week 1 performance, but we're trending in the right direction. Looking at it last week, we had the Cowboys hosting the Giants. The Cowboys visiting the Giants. I wrote it down wrong. I'm a dummy. I picked Dallas to win this game. They did, but it was not pretty. If the Giants could have converted those field goals to touchdowns, it's been a totally different game. Injuries, though, have hampered Dallas. DeMarcus Lawrence is out. Looks like Micah Parsons is going to be out for the upcoming week. The offense looked terrible for the most part. There's no running game whatsoever. The defense can't stop the run. There's a lot of question marks for the Cowboys. And their lack of inactivity over the offseason is showing signs that this could be a very, very tremendous season for the Cowboys. That could see the head coach leaving town. But Cowboys end up winning, evening up their record, getting my first win of the season. Then we head over to Atlanta. And this one I try to give more towards the Saints because I thought Carr and all of them were doing all right. Atlanta seems to be a very up and down type of team. And it was a very good game between the two, and which I thought it would be. I thought it would be a very close contest. It's just how these two teams battle each other. And it came to Koo once again. Clutch when it needs to be, kick a game-winning field goal, and that was it. Atlanta ended up beating the Saints, tied up their records. Chi-Town had the Bears taking on the injured Rams. Caleb Williams was not offensively productive. He was just productive. And you start seeing the growth of him as a quarterback and began to excel in this. But once again, the Bears showing a whole team concept and intercepted Matthew Stafford at the end of the game to seal the victory for the Bears, going to 2-2. And Caleb Williams right now is undefeated at home. That's an interesting aspect. Up in Green Bay, Jordan Love came back from injury. And of course, he's going to get thrown back in there, but you saw the rest of them in the first half of the game. The second half is when the Packers came back, made this a game. They just didn't have enough in them. Sam Darnold was just a dominant performance, especially that first half. When Minnesota went up 28-7 at halftime, I was like, wow. Definitely picked the wrong one here because I picked Green Bay to win this divisional game. Like I said, they came back. 22 points in the fourth quarter was not enough. Minnesota held on to win 31-29. Head to Indy. And this is where I thought the Steelers would continue. Fields still had a very productive game, over 300 yards. Passing, no, he didn't throw in any interceptions. Rodgerson did get injured with a hip injury, and old man Flacco came in and just dominated the Steelers. Had answers for T.J. Watt, avoided him as much as possible. That defense just couldn't seem to stop Indianapolis at any point in time. And the Colts were able to hold off a late charge by the Steelers, winning it 27 to 24. Then we head to New York with the Jets playing host to the Broncos, and we saw the Jets of old. That's plain and simple. The Jets of old showed up. They decided to roll out their beat-up version of themselves, and the Broncos grounded them. Aaron Rodgers had no time to really do anything in the backfield. He had only 225 yards passing, 0 touchdowns. Denver wasn't pretty either with their aspect. Towards the end of the game, it was a pair of missed field goals. Denver had a shot to really put the game out of reach, failed it. Aaron Rodgers getting an opportunity to march down the field. They marched far enough, but then got stopped, and they missed their field goal. Denver escaping the Jets 10-9. And just continue my woes of losing. We head down to Tampa Bay, and Philadelphia just fell apart completely. They had no answers for Baker Mayfield. They had no answers for that defense. It was atrocious. Baker almost had 350 yards passing and 2 touchdowns. This is how much dominant he is being right now with Tampa Bay and how he has really embraced his role in Tampa. The team has responded around him in Tampa, much like he had some success when he was in Cleveland. But now it seems to be a better situation for him. Tampa Bay rolled Philly 33-16. Giving me my 5th loss. We head down to Carolina, where Andy Dalton, now the starter for the Panthers, will take on his former team, the team that he was very successful with. Him and Coach Lewis both were just you penciling Cincinnati in the playoffs every year and penciling them to get eliminated every year. Pretty much like the Cowboys now. But Cincinnati came in winless. They're looking for something. They found the Panthers' catnip stash, took away all the toys, ruined their litter box. The Bengals ended up winning 34-24. Jacksonville went down to Houston. They actually tried to be competitive, but for some reason, Trevor Lawrence cannot seem to connect with his receivers very well, and opportunities just were missed. Jacksonville could have won this game if they would made catches when they could. Their defenses were all right, and Jacksonville had the lead towards the end of the game and allowed C.J. Stroud with 18 seconds left to put that touchdown in and have the Texans escape a upset bid by the Jags, 24-20. But Jack Del Rio's seat has got to be on fire right now because this team is nowhere near where it's supposed to be, nowhere where I thought it was supposed to be. Then we head out to the desert with Arizona, where Jaden Williams came back out to Arizona. He started his college career at Arizona State. He showed up and had a field day. Over 230 yards passing, 26 of 30 with 1 touchdown. It did not matter. He was just relentless. He running the ball, throwing the ball, it did not matter. It was a constant thread with Washington scoring immensely. It looks like now Washington has an opportunity to take the East with a rookie quarterback, much like they did with RJ3 back in the day. And I called for RJ3 to take the Washington team to a divisional title, and they ended up doing that. I think Jane Daniels can do the same thing. The way the Commanders are playing right now, with Jane Daniels in charge of this offense, we'll have to see when we hit some of these other teams on their schedule. But their schedule is favorable for them. It's those divisional games you have to watch out for that always are pesky, but they rolled 42-14, giving me my sixth loss. Out in Santa Clara, 49ers, no problem with the Patriots, 30-13. Out in Vegas, it was a bad game between both teams. Devontae Adams wasn't playing. And it was just a meh performance by both franchises, but the Raiders were able to hold off a late charge by Cleveland, holding on to win 20-16, giving them win number 2. Then we had out 2 so far with the Chargers play hosted the Chiefs in a AFC West clash. This is the game where I thought the Chargers could do that to overtake them. In the beginning of the game, it looked like that. But injury played a huge factor in this game. The Chargers just, after some adjustments by the Chiefs, Chargers couldn't compete anymore. And Mahomes, this is his own worst enemy because he took out Rasheed Rice after a interception. He's looking to try to throw a shoulder block into the Charger running down the field, but he ended up getting Rice in the end, pretty much taking him out for the season. Kelsey only had about 90 yards. He's a yard short, but Mahomes and Kelsey are not really on the same page right now. You still have their star, the rookie speedster they can rely on as well. They try to utilize more, but Kansas City was just not very good offensively. Kansas City's defense stepped up when they had to, didn't give Justin Herbert any time, and the Chiefs escaped L.A. with 17-10 victory. And that was my final loss for the week. Head to Baltimore, and it was the Derrick King Henry show. He was 1 yard shy of 200 yards. If he didn't have that fumble on the goal line stance or the goal line, he would have had his over 200 yards, 2 touchdowns. That's about the only bad thing about that. And it was just a one-sided show. Josh Allen couldn't do much of anything. 16-29, only 180 yards, no touchdowns. He had no time to throw, no time really to do anything. The Ravens defense stepped up when they had to. They held on. There was no fourth quarter collapse. Ravens rolled 35-10. On the doubleheader for Monday night, Tennessee went into Miami. I picked the Titans to get their first win. They did not disappoint, even though it was a fugly game to begin with. 9-3 at half, I'm like, okay, this is not going to be that good. And, I mean, Huntley was a starter. He couldn't crack 100 yards. Pollard couldn't crack 90 yards rushing, but he had a touchdown. But if it wasn't for intentional grounding by Huntley in the end zone created a safety. So they had an odd score of 31-12. Titans rolled the Dolphins. The Dolphins right now are lost without Tua. And they still have 2 more weeks left till he gets off the IR. They have the Seahawks taking on the Lions. And this is a rematch from last year's playoffs. And I thought this would be a good matchup between the two. And it was. I mean, it lived up to the hype. Detroit was putting themselves up there. Goff is actually probably making a case for maybe MVP talk. I mean, you could probably throw that out there. The Lions were rolling for the first half, 21-7 at the halftime, but Seattle and Geno Smith just kept coming back. Geno ended up almost having 400 yards passing, 395 with a touchdown. Walker had 3 touchdowns for Seahawks rushing. So there's definitely some issues with the Detroit's defense. They held the storm Seattle was bringing. Seattle also ended up getting a safety towards the end of the game when they went for a 4th and goal. Didn't make it. It was towards the end of the game. We're at the 2-minute mark. So Detroit decided to go, okay, we're just going to hit a bomb. We got nothing else to lose. Seattle came with a blitz, which I think everyone probably would have done if they're playing Madden. And got Goff. He tried to get the ball out. He did. However, he wasn't down. He pulled the ball back in when he was tackled inside the end zone. Safety. Let's get another odd score, but Detroit held on to win. 42-29, giving me win number 9. And we had in the season with definitely some, or heading in week 5, definitely some head scratchers and trying to figure out which team's going to go. Right now, before we dive into Week 5, there's already talks of the Raiders looking for someone to trade Devontae Adams to. And apparently there's a few teams that have stepped up that could possibly make a bid for him. The Jets seem like a good choice, especially since he already knows the system because he used to be with Hackett in Green Bay. He knows Aaron Rodgers, so to get that love affair can kick right back off. I think the Saints have popped up as a possibility. The Cowboys got room, but will Jerry Jones do anything? So there's definitely some interesting aspects to go with that trade talks. We'll see how things progress. But like I said, 4 teams are off this week. Detroit, Tennessee, Philadelphia, and the Chargers. The Chargers need that for rest. They need to get their players back. They had a good game against Kansas City, just fell short. Injury played a key factor in that matchup. And Herbert had a hard time staying upright. He needs that extra week to kind of recuperate because he's been getting banged up in the backfield. Philly definitely needs to figure out what to fix the problem. There, you definitely tell there's a rift creating between Jalen Hurts and Sirianni. And we're starting to see a trend right now with Sirianni where there's no drive in Philadelphia. They've gotten rid of every coordinator. The only thing's left is Sirianni, and nothing is working. Kellen Winslow is an OC. He's all about the pass. So he's barely using Barkley as you should. So there's got to be talks about that. Try how to incorporate Saquon Barkley more into the offense. Just run the ball, and then you can utilize his Jalen Hurts' mobility as another factor in the running attack. That opens the abilities for receivers, but there's injuries in the receiving core. There's a lot of things to fix out. Detroit, Tennessee, I think they've got to find ways to continue their forward momentum. So let's go ahead and dive into these weeks of action with the first game on the docket in Thursday night on Prime Video. The Buccaneers and Hotlanta, the Dirty Birds, battling out in the ATL. This right now is going to be another classic NFC NASCAR South Division rivalry game. It's going to come down pretty much how last week was, but can Tampa Bay regurgitate what they did last week? Kind of, do a rerun and just dominate Atlanta. I think they can. I think they can go in there and do that, but can they maintain it? This is another problem. Do they allow Kirk Cousins the ability to make strikes? That's what you cannot do. You can't give Kirk time because Kirk will pick you apart. But can Atlanta's defense disrupt Baker? I think they can. There's definitely going to be a back and forth. Right now, the line in the time I'm recording this video is 1.5 in favor of Atlanta. I'm going against Koo and the kicker in the Dirty Birds, but I'm going Baker and the Bucks. I think they're going to squeak out Atlanta with a victory, but I think it's going to cost them. But I do think Tampa Bay should sneak out of there probably with like a 2-point victory. Then Sunday, get up early for the first game of the docket as we head back to London. Mario, England, playing in front of King Charles. The Jets and the Vikings kick things off. 8:30 a.m. on NFL Network. Can Minnesota maintain their being undefeated? Can Sam Darnold continue to thrive in this new environment? 932 yards, 11 touchdowns, 3 picks. He looks almost unstoppable. Jones right now, over 300 yards rushing and a touchdown. Not so much, but Jefferson's been a key aspect for Sam Darnold. I still expect that to continue. The Jets defense will be stingy. They look what they've done these past few weeks. They have narrowed down these opponents. But I don't think issues with the Jets' offense will be fixed in time. Minnesota's defense is no joke either. You can see what they've did with the past few weeks. I mean, they did stifle the high-flying Houston Texans. So I think they'll have no problem with Aaron Rodgers. But I think Aaron should make this eventful, at least. Minnesota right now is favored by 2.5. I don't see any issues with this whatsoever. The Vikings will maintain a perfect season thus far and escape London with the victory. Then back to your normally scheduled games. We're going to start off in Chicago with the Bears playing host to the Panthers. And I think Caleb Williams continue to thrive moving forward, trying to eliminate his mistakes. I mean, Anthony Dalton should make this interesting, especially if he is starting. But I'm giving this to Chicago at 3.5. Their defense is starting to step up, making the plays they need to make the plays. Caleb Williams is starting to make the decisions. He's finally hooking up with DJ Moore. So now he knows he has 3 good assets in Kmet and Odunze. But I'll give the Bears 3.5. I kind of like that too. At the Jungles of Cincinnati, where now they play host to the Ravens, and can the Bengals catch a flying Raven? Can they stop King Henry? That's going to be a key thing. I think not. There's a lot of questions right now. Cincinnati, I'm not happy with where they're kind of going. Burrow's doing pretty well, 978 yards on the ground, or in the air, 7 touchdowns, only 1 pick. So he's eliminating his chances. Jamar Chase has 3 touchdowns, 300 yards. He could do more. It's that running attack they're missing. It's that defense is kind of being lackluster. I think Baltimore, if they continue relying on Henry, do what they did against Buffalo, against Cincinnati, this should be a one-sided game. Ravens. The two-less Dolphins head up to Foxborough, take on the Patriots, and this is going to be an ugly game. Even if you're fans of both these teams, this is going to be ugly. It's. I don't see a clear favorite when it comes to this, and it's not. I won't take anything away because both these teams have their issues right now, either through injury or other aspects. But I kind of like the Patriots more in this one. I think Dolphins without Tua is just a team without their identity, and they don't know how to handle it, and it shows. But I will take the Patriots to win at Foxborough. Then we had the D.C., the nation's capital, as the Commanders play host to the Browns, and Jayden Daniels continues to thrive, almost 900 yards. He only has 3 passing touchdowns, but the way the offense is set up between him and Robinson, kind of doing a dual running attack, gives defenses fits. Can they contain Myles Garrett, and can the Washington's defense continue to stifle Deshaun Watson? Don't take much to stifle Deshaun Watson. Right now the line has Washington favored by 3. I like that as well. I think it might be even more. I doubt they put the numbers like they did against Arizona. I think Deshaun Watson will definitely make a comeback. But, I think Washington should have any issues with Cleveland. Then we head down to Jacksonville. Where the Jaguars play host to the Colts. And I have a hard time with this game. Because the way Jacksonville played last week, they had opportunities to win, and they failed to do it. The defense had opportunity to stop a winning drive by C.J. Stroud, and they could not do that. And the Colts look even better if Flacco was playing than with Richardson. Richardson gives you a different dynamic because he's a mobile guy. Now you have to worry about 2 guys running the ball for the Colts. Flacco is more traditional, but he's more cerebral. And that's a thing that Jaguars can't have, is a guy that can pick them apart. Flacco has that ability. Richardson has the mobility aspect. So it depends on which one actually going to play this week. Gives you 2 different aspects right now. Jaguars are just misfiring on all cylinders. I don't know what needs to happen. Definitely need to get a victory. Right now, the Jaguars are favored by 3 because I think they're looking at the injury at the quarterback. It's a different aspect. But that might be a blessing in disguise for the Colts. I'm taking the Colts. To win. And it's not a knock against the Jags too much. They definitely have issues. Right now, I believe more in Flacco passing than do Trevor Lawrence passing. I don't know what needs to happen in Jacksonville. Him and his receivers definitely need to get to on the same page, and they're not right now. But can't believe more in the Colts than do the Jags. And then another huge showdown in the AFC. This back in Houston with the Texans play host to the Bills. Josh Allen needs to just shake off last game and come this with a fresh mindset. And they're like, all right, we already got that loss on our record. That's fine. Deal with it. It's time to move on. How can Buffalo's defense stop C.J. Stroud? The rushing attack for Texans is kind of messing with Mixon gone. There's too many offensive weapons right now for the receiving corps for Stroud not to pick apart Buffalo's defense. But Buffalo's secondary has shown to be pretty good. Just can't stop the run. But Texans kind of faltered back a little bit when it came against stiffer competition. But right now, it's a Buffalo's favored by 1. I kind of like that. I think it's going to be a very close game. I really do. I would not surprise if either team wins this game. But I'm going with Buffalo to bounce back after their disappointment in Baltimore and come away out H-Town with the victory. In the afternoon matchups, we have the Mile House City with the Broncos play host to the Raiders, and Denver right now is riding on this winning streak. The Raiders had a couple of good wins themselves. No clash. And right now, I believe more in Denver than do the Raiders. Denver's favored by 2.5. I like that as well. I'm going Broncos. The Redbirds are heading to Santa Clara to take on the Niners. Arizona got manhandled by Washington. San Francisco is not going to be as lenient either with Arizona as Washington was. So I think it's going to be San Francisco. Right now, San Francisco favored by 7. I have no issues with that. Niners. Head down to SoFi where the Rams play host to the Packers. And the way Jordan Love led the team back towards the end of the game against Minnesota, he's definitely back to form. The Rams will still make it a good contest. The struggle against the Bears. They had that comeback win against the Niners. But having those receivers missing is going to be a huge factor. Green Bay's favored by 3. I also think that I'll give it to Green Bay, but I would not be surprised if Stafford made a late charge at the end of the game that could decide everything and just kind of fall short. But Packers. We have the Puget Sound where the Seahawks play host to the G-Men, and this one, the Giants, like I said, if they were scoring touchdowns against Dallas last Thursday, they would have won the game. That's how much they were able to move the ball against the Dallas defense. Now, I do expect them to move the ball against Seattle's defense. I do expect them to find the end zone at least once. But that's been part of the problem is to not be able to find the end zone at all. And I think Seattle's going to find a way to work around that one. Geno Smith is very competent quarterback, even though he has made a lot of mistakes. 4 interceptions to go with 4 touchdowns, but he has some dynamic receivers. But Neighbors on the other side is a dynamic receiver himself for the Giants and should be a huge threat for the Seahawks secondary. Seattle's favored by 6 right now. I kind of like that myself. I'm going to Seahawks. Then Sunday night, we head to the Steel City, where the Steelers play host to the Cowboys. This one's interesting. Injuries on the Dallas secondary is going to be huge. Dallas, or not Dallas secondary, but Dallas defense in particular on their front is huge. They can't stop the run anyways. So it gives Najee Harris the ability to stack up some yards finally. A little to the hype he was supposed to have a couple years ago. Dak Prescott's going to find himself under siege by T.J. Watt. And you notice that Dallas front line is not as susceptible as well. Can the Steel defense step up and stifle C.D. Lamb? Stop the run, because the run's pretty much ineffective right now for Dallas too. The Dallas team is just in a complete disarray. And I don't see things changing with Pittsburgh. I have a feeling they will make this a game. It's just because of Dak Prescott. He is that type of quarterback. He will find ways to try to get the game going. CeeDee Lamb is a good enough receiver to give him some extra yards after the catch. But it's that Pittsburgh front that's going to hamper him, and it's going to be Dallas' inability to stop the run. That's going to allow Justin Fields to find ways to either hit him through the run or through the air. Steelers are favored by 2.5 in this matchup. I like that as well. I'm going to take the Steelers to knock off the Cowboys. And then Monday night, you got New Orleans going to Arrowhead to take on Kansas City and the Chiefs. And there's issues right now with the Chiefs, with their receiving core. And can Kelsey step up? Kelsey can become that primary target. But since he's getting a lot of attention, that leaves other people opportunities to thrive. But now they know there's no other one else to really throw to. And, losing Pacquiao and Steele's not really a solid replacement. Kansas City's done marvelous things with broken pieces. You saw that last year. They won the Super Bowl last year. They were nowhere favored. They thought, these injuries here, they're losing these players here, and they're done. They repeated. So Kansas City finds a way. When you have Patrick Mahomes, you find a way. But Saints come in looking to lick the wounds from Atlanta. I mean, they could have taken out the Falcons. They could not. Can Carr be able to pick apart? Can the offensive line hold up against the Chiefs? That's going to be the huge issue for the Saints. I think they can. I think having Kamara back there running the ball as well can happen, but injuries are affecting the Saints as well. Losing Tyson Hill is another issue the Saints have to deal with. Kansas City's right now favored by 5.5. I'll go buck the trend on this one. And I'm trying to get that Chiefs that loss early, and then that way it's fine. They got that get that early loss out of the way. Is which injury-ridden team is going to come out to victory? I have a feeling the Chiefs' offense is definitely going to struggle. You saw that last week with the Chargers when they only end up scoring 17 points. That's not going to be enough to stop the Saints. I think they're going to be able to find ways to work around that defense. I'm taking the Saints to win it or Arrowhead, but I'm definitely not confident with that pick. I'm just thinking that sooner or later Kansas City is going to lose. I'm just trying to figure out which team's going to do it. I thought the Chargers had a shot. If they were healthy, they probably would have. I think if the Saints are healthy, they will beat the Chiefs as well. But them being injured coming in this game definitely is going to be a issue. And the Chiefs just seem to just function because, well, they're the Chiefs. We'll see how this plays out. Like I said, Chiefs favored by 5.5. Taking the Saints. Well, there you go. There's my wild picks. It definitely has some head scratchers, I think. I'm not going to lie to you. Because I could see Jacksonville knocking off the Colts like they're favored to do. I could see the Chiefs defending their kingdom, which I think they possibly could. I could see Dallas going to Pittsburgh and shocking everyone. But I picked what I picked, and that's that. I'm just hoping for at least a 500 record, if not a winning record. I don't expect to see 9 wins. Having 7 wins would be fine because that means I'm 7-7. That's my goal, 7 wins for every week, 7 wins regardless. But, hey, let me know what you think about the picks, which games you're looking forward to. Where do you think Devontae Adams is going to find a new home with? Do you think he teams back up with Aaron Rodgers with the Jets, or does he find a new life in New Orleans? Let's mix it up in the comments below. If you like what I'm doing, you're still here, hit that thumbs up. Greatly appreciate it. It really helps boost the signal for this video, boost the algorithm, the old-minded YouTube algorithm that dominates our whole lives. If you further appreciate what I do and you want to support this channel, you can subscribe. A lot of you guys watch these videos. Do not subscribe. It doesn't cost you a dime. All you do is hit that subscribe button, click that bell icon, turn on notifications, let you know next time I post any more content on my channel. And I'll see you next time on Chat Sports Talk.